Alrighty then, so Flaminpit Part 2 is back. How's everybody doing? How you doing back there, John? Still awake?
Pretty good. I'm here. Are you guys here to have a little whine or a squeal? I don't know. I just make sure feedback's cut back.
I don't hear it.
I don't hear it.
All right. So it sounds good now. It was eliminated. All right.
Maybe
I'm
that
doing
was
well
my,
now. So
that was my jewelry. So today, Part 2, we have Miss Debbie Gadaney. She's becoming a rock star on the show.
Oh.
Say hey, rock star.
Hey, rock star. Woohoo!
And she brought in Mr. Brian Blaine. Now I'm going to make him a rock star.
All right.
And so they're going to be doing an antique show. And so you guys tell me what this is about. I'm looking at it. It says Vintage Collectibles, What's This Worth? An appraisal fair.
Well, it all started in the spring. We talked about doing something to try and bring people into the area, and Debbie and I concocted a little program called Antique Treasure Hunt. And the treasure hunt, we had like 27 different locations that they could go out and find that little collectible treasure that they've been looking for. So once we put that on, Debbie did some great things at the hotel that she had a vintage fashion show to kick it off, and the woman was absolutely fantastic, and we really got sort of excited about the whole antique side of it. Mm-hmm. So then I work in conjunction with the Convention Bureau trying to help bring more people in, so we developed a program that is our version of the Antique Roadshow.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what It's Worth is all about. And we're pairing that again, though, with a treasure hunt the second week of this program, which we'll talk about that in a little bit, too. But so we said, what ingredients will really make it work? So a lot of coffee talk and some other things. We came up with 2 days. I think they'll be pretty exciting for everybody.
So this is going to be like a treasure hunt, but people can actually bring stuff in for you to appraise?
Well, the first week is what it's worth, and we'll put them in two categories.
Okay.
The second week will be the treasure hunt, which I'll explain that, but we'll focus on what it's worth right now.
Okay.
Basically, what it's worth is we're going to have 12 to 20 appraisers. And those appraisers will be experts in different categories. And people are always wondering, Grandma gave them this or Grandpa gave them that, and is it worth anything?
I have a cookie jar.
There you go.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, it's
Well, when you bring it in, make sure it's filled with cookies.
And I'll say they're not antiques.
They're vintage.
Vintage cookies.
Vintage cookies.
Yeah.
So trying to set up some different people. We got some pretty exciting people. I mean, there's people with great stories. There's Julian Thomas, who's out of Fenton. And Julian, for 45 years, has made parts for vintage toys.
Oh.
And he walked in and showed me his automotive section, and he said, if you're looking for a tire for a 1938 toy truck, I have it. Or he'll make it. Or he'll make grills for the cars. Or he'll make little side mirrors. And he's got all these things. He's got like 7 people in there working like Santa's workshop.
Little teeny tiny stuff.
Oh yeah, really amazing. So he's going to be there as our toy appraiser. And throughout the show, we're going to try and have people set up every hour on the hour. We'll put on a 45-minute presentation of different things, from vintage Flint, the Durant Hotel, old Durant Hotel, which is now the Durant Event Center. She's going to come down and show some historic photographs and other things there. Julian will get up and talk about the different period of the toys which were popular and stuff. And of course the coin dealers and all those type of people. So, but again, everybody wonders, do they have something worth a lot of money?
Well, because I also have this mug that my neighbor gave me, and somebody else in the neighborhood said, "Oh, that mug is worth some money. Don't ever get rid of it." And it's like an old clay mug, and somebody gave it to her, and she was like, I don't want it. So she gave it to me, and it's in my closet. And so it's like, if somebody tell me they think something's worth anything, it doesn't go in the yard sale. It just sort of sits in the closet because I don't want to be the one to give it away.
Is she still your neighbor?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you find out that mug is worth something, she's going to want that back.
I'm like, nah. But then, my thing is I have some stuff like they have furniture in here. I know I have some furniture that is old, and I was told it has to be like 100 years old.
No, well, vintage is a whole different thing. There's stuff that is worth a lot of money because there's made in such limited quantities. It could be the 50s. It could be the 60s.
Because I had this dinette set that my godmother left to me, and it's wood, round, it's got the claw feet. Sure. And I had the chairs, and then the chairs sort of dry rotted and disintegrated. Right. So I have the table, but it's some things, I just wouldn't even want to try to put away, have somebody sell, because then you're like, oh, I could have gotten more for it or whatever. And it's like, some things you just want to keep forever and a day.
Well, some things you think are really worth a lot of money. Like a gentleman that works with me, he's 83. And he's still out there working, in not because he has to, just because he wants to. And his mother gave him books, 6 inches deep, full of stamps, hundreds and hundreds of stamps. So one of our people that's going to be one of our coin and stamp appraisers, we said, what are they worth? And he said they're worth 3 cents.
Yeah, I have some too I thought was worth something, and they was like, oh, that's worth a nickel, and that's worth 2 cents. I'm like, how do you know when coins are worth? I done had these 35 years, and they're still not worth.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, how long do they have to be? And we had seen something on the news that said, oh, there was a Indian head nickel or something that was worth $4,000.
Sure.
Right. So here I go digging through my coins, and I take my handful of coins to 2 different places. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get 2 opinions on this. They're always the same thing. Oh, that's a nickel. That's 3 cents.
It's just like in the stamps. They said stamps, the value never goes away. But they said otherwise, if somebody wanted to write you a check, they'd write you a check for 10% less.
They mailed the stamp.
Yeah, that's what he said. Use them.
Use
it.
You're
better off. Yeah. But as it turns out that the coins and the stuff, basically, it can be an old coin, but they made, 1 million of them.
Right.
And then another coin, it can be not quite as old, and they only made, 50,000 for some reason. Now they're worth something.
Now, yeah.
So, those are the things. That's going to be fun with the experts there, telling us, basically, in their opinion, is because it's like anything else. You take and have 5 people tell you what it's worth, and it's really what it's worth is somebody will write you a check for it.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just a lot of talk. So
I need a check.
Yeah. So we've got some people there that during the appraisal itself, they will not purchase it on the spot, but there'll be other booths. We have. Right now, I'm into the 70s with the number of booths that will be there with different features and stuff. And some of those people are there to buy things, and they're also there to sell some of their goods, from, again, antique furniture to coins to toys to whatever.
So you say you have booths for people just set up and sell stuff. They're not necessarily vintage stuff, or are they vintage stuff?
Everything's got to be a collectible.
Okay.
And by collectible, though, we even have some of the people that have the old comics and that type of thing. So we're trying to have a good selection, across the board, so people will find it interesting. Plus, Vic Hanover out in Fenton is doing a classic car show, vintage car show, that's going to be tied in at the Pawnee Arena too.
So are you going to bring the cars inside?
Yeah, we have. They're actually, the stuff is going out today. They've done 3 or 4 different shows here recently, and we're going to have some people. The cars will be around the outside of the arena itself, but inside. And we have a little contest, what car people like the most, and there's a small registration fee, and there'll be some winners of some money there.
You got to register to guess what kind of car I like?
No.
Well, I'm in the wrong business.
Yeah, that's not a bad deal, huh? Yeah, and we're gonna cherry pick the cars that we think are the most interesting for everybody too. So when they sign up. But again, a lot of different things that we're going to try and do to make it a fun day, because by the time you're waiting for your appraisals, by the time you're shopping the different vendors, and at the same time we're really going to try and have some information on the staging area that will be fun. Good stuff that you can use. Other things will just be interesting. And I'm sort of excited about vintage flint. Right. And to be able to show some things that back in the day, and how it's turned around now.
Well, a lot of the stuff that people would see would come out of the Pirani place over here on Gordon. They always have stuff in there, and it's like, is that the only place in Flint that has old stuff like that?
No, not at all. When we first started doing this for the treasure hunt back in the spring, we were surprised that there were so many antique shops within a 30-minute radius of Flint. And they all just were so excited about participating.
So is that where the people went to these shops to find
Yes.
a certain
Yeah.
item?
Yeah.
That'll be the second week. And because we're trying to do something, come and visit the show, find out what that little collectible you have is worth.
Right.
Then listen to some of the different speakers talk about different things. And Kari from Cash and Kari, who's on HGTV.
Right.
Actually, she's from Fenton originally and still works out of Michigan, but travels all over the country for her show. Same people that do American Pickers.
Yeah, I like that show.
Yeah, and I actually tried to get one of the gentlemen from American Pickers, Mike Wolf, the one without the beard, and
I love that show. They are hilarious.
well, for 3 hours, I love that show too. But for 3 hours, it's $25,000 in first class airfare. So I thought, that's not
Maybe
really
don't need
something
him
we can
after
go.
all.
Yeah. So you got to sell a lot of tickets to do that.
Ooh.
And so we're again with Kari there on Sunday. That'll add another dimension to it. Cars 108 is there, and Everything Classic on Saturday morning with FNT. Mike Gaylord has a show the hour before our show actually opens, and then on Saturday from 10 to 12, Cars 108's there, and doing some live things. And again, we're trying to come up with as many different things as possible and trying to get as big a variety as possible. We are charging $5 to get in.
Is that senior discount?
Yeah, everybody's seen it. And for 12 and under, it's free. And they get one free appraisal with the $5, and then plus there's no parking charge at all, so because parking's included.
Yeah, because usually it's $3 to park over there.
Yeah, so we think we got a pretty good value for everybody.
So now, how many vendors or booths or everything, or do you have set up already? I mean, lined up to go?
Well, we're in the 70s.
Oh, 70.
Yeah,
Okay.
so my goal originally was about 125.
Now, is that going to be in the bottom?
The second arena.
Second arena.
Yeah.
The smaller arena. It's not where they're playing hockey, because they do have a hockey game that weekend going on.
So some of those people can actually come up and
absolutely
We're hoping.
bring their hockey stick. I got an old.
How much is this hockey stick worth?
I just caught a puck. How much is this worth?
As long as it's not okay, that's not enough, and then
Yeah, the sports collectibles. We're trying to. We're a little weak on that now, but we're trying to get some additional people on that. And it all comes together. A lot of the people and the vendors on the booths and things, when they, the closer you get, our advertising has started in different medias, and we're already getting some responses from people that were on the fence when it came to being vendors that now want to be in the show.
Oh, okay.
So we're excited about that.
So how did you end up getting the girl, Kari? How'd you end up getting her? She was the cheapest?
Well, no, she wasn't cheap. I won't say how much because she's coming. But at the same time, no, not at all. But she basically talking to the antique dealers that we dealt with in the first treasure hunt, I said, who else is out there? And they said, Kari, from Cash and Kari. And I'm like, okay. And then I went out and asked about 20, 25 people, and out of the 25 people, probably 22 knew her. And so I went, okay, that's that works for me. Plus, then after talking to her, she's absolutely just a wonderful person to work with.
I like that show with the big garage sale that goes from state to state.
Yeah,
I love that. Remember they had that here one year. It went from Grand Blanc to almost Saginaw.
You know what? They did it this year.
They did it this year?
They did it again.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, from Port Huron all the way down to St. Clair Shores, they did it.
Oh, I missed
See,
it.
and they do a garage sale up 15 from Bay City all the way down.
Yeah, because the first year I saw it, we went and we just happened to be coming in from Grand Blanc and we saw the signs, and then we just went over on the back road and just started going up, But I like stuff like that. We should have a giant garage sale.
They do one too. I believe it's all down 69, all the way through Indiana and all the way down.
Yeah, because the one on TV is from state to state. It's like, I'm in Crossline, Kentucky now. I'm steady going in this yard sales.
Right.
You could go crazy in there.
Absolutely. If you got the time and the money.
Well, you better bring a semi truck because I'm going to load up some stuff. I'm not coming home empty-handed. So now, what is the turnout been as far as people in general looking forward to this kind of event? Because obviously we haven't had anything like that around here before.
Well, actually, the Sloan Museum did deal with Du Michel, which is very high-end art appraiser out of the Detroit area, and they booked him right out. They did it fantastic. So most of the people, and Mike Gaylord, who's there with his show Everything Classic on FNT, Mike does them around the state, and every time they do them, people are lined up to find out what their item's worth. So we expect a good turnout. We want to make sure that we have the right selection of appraisers, military appraisers, and we're not looking for a bunch of guns, but that some people collect the war memorabilia and that type of thing. Glass appraisers, toy appraisers, furniture appraisers, art appraisers.
So are you gonna have any side shows to bring the people in, like maybe flamethrowers or something?
It depends. I may have to be up there doing it.
Yeah, bring them in, set them up there by the 69 exit, blowing fire.
That may work.
That'll get them in.
Maybe next year. There's an idea.
Yeah, I mean, you could turn this into an annual event. If this year goes well.
That's our hope. That's what we would like to do, and we're hoping that it grows year after year after year.
Well, and two, when you have 2 days like this, that means they can come get rooms.
Absolutely. And I have a special rate set up and everything for anyone coming from out of the area that wants to come up and participate in the event.
And we have our Facebook that they can go on and basically check anything that is happening event-wise, because the event calendar that you'll be able to look, and the toy appraiser may be there Saturday morning for 2 hours, off for a couple hours, and on back for 2 hours, so they can look and see when they can come and get different things appraised, or
they just want to come,
or different speakers, that they want to hear about the vintage Flint, or they want to hear about how to repurpose furniture. We also really, I talked to them yesterday, and I'm pretty excited about it, because they said they'd do it. They're going to find out who's going to do it. Sloan Museum has a curator that goes out and speaks about how to store your collectibles. Like
David White.
Oh yes, old photographs and some other things. So I'm pretty.
He should come. Is he going to be there?
You know what? They were telling me who's going to be there, and I'm not sure.
Because he would be a good representative to be there.
Right.
Yeah, so we're trying to set that up. They gave me a tentative commitment yesterday, and so those are the type of things that we're going to try and do. And we want to make it a fun day that you can come and not only look at the things and shop and do that type of thing and see the vintage cars, but and get your appraisal, but have something interesting to go look at and something that's fun.
Now, do you work with Debbie? Or you just
sort of.
Well, I mean, you don't work at the hotel.
No, but I work with the hotel's been real good to me, and I'm trying to do things with them on a promotional standpoint.
Oh, okay.
Type of thing. But actually, I live in Rochester. I used to live in Flint. I was here for about 26 years. So,
they ran you out.
That's probably more true than you think. No, prior, a little off the side, prior to Patsy Lou, there was Blaine Buick, and I was Blaine Buick.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was here up through the...
So you used to sell cars.
But I've had a marketing company since 1976.
Blaine Buick. Yeah. I remember the name.
Yeah,
I've never owned a Buick.
Yeah, well,
Chevy and Ford. That's the only cars I've ever had.
I was a Chevrolet dealer, too, in Nashville, Tennessee, too.
Oh, well, see, there you go.
That's okay. We'll go with that. But, yeah, so, I had a marketing company. I selected General Motors Institute, and now Kettering.
Yeah.
And people come up and say, can we... hire your company. Well, after about 30 people ask you to hire their company, even if you don't have one, you come up.
You're going to come up with a company.
So since then, we've done a tremendous amount of different merchandising programs. Heavy automotive at the beginning, and then I got into non-automotive. And in the last several years, it's pretty much been all non-automotive. And so I enjoy coming up with things just like What It's Worth. Going out and listening to people, what are they looking for? What would attract me if I, saw a show? Would I want to run over there and show them that coffee cup?
Yeah.
Those
flamethrower.
Yeah, flamethrower.
You're into those flames, aren't you?
I like that. This Flaminpit.
That's great. But yeah, so again, we found with the one in June that there's a real loyal following when you say that come out and look at antiques and collectibles. They got in their cars and drove around that group and this group too, for the second week, is the Antique Treasure Hunt, again, the fall version of it. And we're going to have a clue in every location. And there's about 22, 23 locations right now, all the way from Lapeer to Holly to Fenton, and then back up to Flint. And out of those locations, you'll be able to get a clue. And if you guess where the treasure is based on the clues, and each place will have a different clue, you can win one of 10 prizes.
So is that money?
Yeah, well, $250 is money, and then the top prize, and then there also some of the stores are giving away one antique piece.
So is like Kaufman's included? They have the antique shop along with their deli.
Nick, yeah. Nick and I are going to have a conversation tomorrow, so we'll see. Nick was involved with the first one, and so the second one we're not sure about at this point. But good group of people. Tommy's Treasures is a new place downtown, and we've just got places all over. People, it's amazing the number of collectible stores, and some of them, the resale shops, really are antique shops, because you go in there and some of them look like a flea market, and other ones you walk in and they've got just fabulous furniture.
There's one in Fenton that was out there. I'm not sure if it's still there, but they had a lot of furniture and different things like that. They didn't have as many clothes. They had furniture and items.
Franz is the place out in Fenton, at least the one on Torrey Road that I'm thinking of. They're involved with the treasure hunt. And also there's like 3 in Linden. Thimbleberries is the name of the place. Halvin Beach. There's a place a little bit further out in Linden that is truly a resale shop. But yeah, some of them you go in and you can find those antiques, and sometimes more reasonable than other places. You're just not sure.
Antiques are high, but I love them. When I went in Nick's shop the first time, I collect Coca-Cola stuff, and he had a lot of stuff in there, but it was too high. I was just like, oh, that's so pretty. Okay, let me go. I want a machine like the Coke machine, like when you put your pop in. I want one of those, but whew, I'd have to sell all kind of pop bottles to earn that bad boy.
I saw one the other day by the road.
And you didn't pick it up?
Oh, and we were in a hurry, and we've been going back to see if it's there.
Of course, it was gone by then.
Yeah.
Somebody's walking off on his back.
It was one of the old ones, a top loader.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was very cool.
I love those, and every time I see them, it's like, I just want one of those. I've got little stuff, but I just want like a big piece of Coca-Cola memorabilia.
Right.
Sure.
But if you get one of those Coke machines that dispenses, it's finding the glass bottles and stuff to be able to keep it.
I don't necessarily have to put anything in it. I just want it.
No,
but I remember the bottles. See, that was when Coke was real Coke.
Right.
It came in glass bottles.
Right.
But now everything is cans and plastic, and then the glass bottle's only about this big.
Right.
And it's like, that's not the same thing. When I was a kid, we had Coke, and the bottles were like a greenish color. You could hammer nails with those bottles. I mean, if you didn't have a hammer, get a Coke bottle.
I saw some in some of the shops.
Yeah, actually, that was real Coke. That stuff burn a hole in your throat, and you'd be like, yes.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. I know. I mean, that's what it was. But now everything is, I guess, supposed to be environmental, plastic. And now they say, you messing up the world with all the plastic bottles. So why you go and make plastic bottles?
Right,
absolutely.
They want you to recycle them. But then what are we going to recycle them into? Another plastic bottle.
That's too funny.
A vicious circle.
True.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they say wrap them around the world 100 times, and it'll just come out another big bottle.
Right.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's true. It is true. That's very true.
I'd rather have stuff out of glass. I don't like drinking out of plastic. I hate to go to a restaurant and they give you a plastic glass.
Yeah,
those things don't go together. It's not a plastic glass. It's a plastic cup.
You got a frequent, little bit better type restaurant.
I know, but sometimes you never know. You think you look at it and it look like glass, and then I go, and it's plastic.
Yeah. Well, you're lucky if you go to a restaurant anymore and you get water without having to ask.
Right. Right. Because you even have to pay for air these days. You get. We was at the air machine. My son took his bike, and it was $0.25.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Who pays for air?
Yep.
We do.
I just had that conversation a couple of weeks ago. We said this is ridiculous. They want $1.
Yeah, I mean that's.
I'm going to go get myself a vintage pump.
Exactly. That's what you need. You
Actually,
might find one at the flea market. Well, I won't say flea market.
No, but I'll tell you what. The other thing we just found, and it appears, and this isn't 100%, but it appears that we have 2 vintage bike dealers that they go find the old bikes from the 30s, 40s, and so forth, and they refurbish them, and we've got our fingers crossed that 2 of them should be there, and they'll have about 18 bikes between the...
Are you talking bicycles or motorcycles?
No, bicycles.
Bicycles.
Yeah,
Okay.
bicycles. And so that's sort of neat to see the history of some of those bikes, too.
Yeah.
So, it's really fun. I didn't realize I was a vintage guy until we started doing this.
Are they going to have any vintage clothes and jewelry there?
Yeah, I've got 2 vendors I picked up this weekend that have some vintage clothes, vintage jewelry.
I like the jewelry. I don't want to buy any more clothes, but I can always buy some jewelry.
Yeah. Well, we've got some. What they do is they take literally vintage jewelry that they find that's been old and maybe part of it's broken, but they take pieces off and maybe make new jewelry, but it's all truly vintage. And so we have one lady that's doing that. We've got another store that the lady literally has gone out and collected it for resale, other true vintage jewelry.
Right.
We've got another woman that has true expensive vintage jewelry. And she's just, it's unbelievable. So I was excited. We just picked her up last weekend.
Wow. Well, they better have money when they come and see her.
They might have to need a couple of dollars. Some vintage dollars.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's again, you go out and you look at some of the stuff and some of the things that people collect, and you find it's pretty amazing. But some of the stuff, you look at it and say, that's vintage. Well, it might have been from the late 20s, and it's come back.
Yeah. Well, a lot of stuff changes, like bell bottoms and platforms.
Sure.
Right.
I loved them in the 70s, and they all back now.
Yeah.
I don't wear bell bottoms anymore. But the young people wearing them, and they think they're the coolest thing since sliced bread.
Well, now they call them boot cuts. But they're bell bottoms.
But flares, bell bottoms, they boot cut.
Yeah.
We wore them bad boys. We wore us a bell bottom, platform shoes. And,
hip huggers. The hip huggers.
Yeah, hip huggers, and now they call them low riders. But I'm gonna tell you, everybody can't wear a low rider.
That's back then, yeah.
Yeah, and they can't wear them now, because I know the other day we was in the store and I turned the corner and what I saw. Oh, my eyes! This lady was bent over getting some, and her shirt rolled up. I was like, blinded by the light.
Thought she was a plumber, huh?
I mean, I just saw all kinds. I was like, woo! And my neighbor looked at me. She goes, "What's wrong?" I was like, I couldn't take it. I had to turn around and keep from laughing. I think she got it because she went like this.
Yeah.
She felt a big draft, because I mean,
she had to.
She had to feel that draft.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, so the 2 weeks, we think we got, if you're a collectible person, we're going to tell you 1 week what it's worth, and tell you how to refurbish things, and just have a fun day shopping on top of the vintage cars and everything else. And then the second week, go out in those shops and maybe win some prizes. So those are fun 2 weekends for the collectible people.
Yep. Gotta have money though.
Gotta have money.
Why is it that stuff costs so much compared to new stuff?
Some of it doesn't. I mean, I go out and I'll see some things, and again, that's why you go to all the different shops. And some shops you go in and you'll find the same thing that you find in another shop for half the price.
Because I know when I was in a shop the other day and they had necklaces, and I was like, those are not old. Those are not antiques.
Right.
Because I have some of those right now, and I know they're not antique. So how can you put new stuff with antiques if it's antique? I thought everything in there is supposed to be an antique.
Basically, the vintage shops were trying to sell things that were, the design is from like being the 20s, 30s, or whatever, and in turn, but they're new jewelry.
But vintage doesn't mean antique. Those are two different things.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
That's why I guess I'm confused, because I was in an antique shop and I saw new jewelry. So I was like...
Well, originally, because we obviously couldn't use the Antique Roadshow, Flint Antique Roadshow, when I was talking to Kari originally, she said, you know what, vintage collectibles, that's what our show is. And she's right, and that's exactly what we have.
So you didn't have to worry about using somebody else's name?
No, because that's our name.
Okay, so next year it'll be Vintage Collectibles 2.
Yeah. Well, what it's worth is
What it's worth
is
too.
Yeah.
Second annual.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, our goal is, obviously to keep it going, and everybody's confident with the times that we're in and the shows, American Pickers and the pawn shows and all that, where people are coming in, that there's a great interest in this. And there always has been, but now we hope they're giving them an outlet to come and again, find out what it's worth.
Well, it'll be one way of putting Flint on the map for the positive.
Absolutely.
Because there's so many people that have antiques and maybe they're thinking, ain't nothing in Flint.
Right.
They just going down to Detroit or somewhere down there, instead of stopping by here.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of people. In fact, Mike Gaylord has a bunch of different people that are coming from Port Huron too. That there's a lot of antiques out there. So, so basically, in about a 30 to 60 minute radius, we're picking up a lot of people. We have some people that are coming in from either farther than that. Some from Ohio, one from Indiana. And so we've got some different people coming from outside the area, and each year it'll be easier to get even more people outside the area.
So what made you pick the month of October versus a warmer month?
The warmer months actually for the vintage collectible antique business it's slow during the summer.
Oh, okay.
And because people are out doing other things. But the minute it gets a little cooler, what can we do? Let's go look for our collectibles.
Oh, okay.
So this is usually the fall is one of the best times of year.
I didn't know that either, because I shop every day. I like to go so. No wonder I can't afford nothing. I'm always shopping.
Well, what we found too is that a lot of the collectibles, they'll go to like the fairs and stuff. A lot of different.
Well, the Midland Show.
Yeah. And then first of October, mid-October, that's when those are done. So they're ready to do something different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually, there's a really busy September, October, November, but the inside shows start when we're starting, and we picked a weekend that there's just not a lot going on.
And a thing, in October starts cooling down, so people will be able to come inside.
And all my vendors I've been talking to, they're going, it's inside, right? Because as we're sitting there at one show a couple weeks ago in Holly, and there's storms coming, it's starting to rain, and they're sitting outside going, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's like yard sales. I put mine off for so long. I kept saying, I'm having my yard sale this week. Rain. Have my yard, too hot,
Right, yeah, exactly.
So you want to have it, I like to have it inside too, because I'd much rather park and be indoors where I don't have to worry about it being too hot or too wet.
Sure.
And sometimes we get snow in October.
Yeah.
We never know.
Yes.
We'll have it on the 11th.
No.
Snow.
Don't be saying
Those are fighting words.
Don't be saying
Well, then we better have it on the 14th. But see, then people can get trapped. They have to stay at the hotel longer.
That's
There you
true.
go.
That's true. But the way the weather's been this year, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
I mean, the way things have been.
It's been crazy, but I'm glad that our weather is not like
Colorado.
down south and the West Coast, where it's either burning up out here, flooding out over here, freezing out over there. We're just sort of up here in our own little world.
Yeah.
And I can deal with that, because if it's cold, you put on. If it's hot, you take off. When you're out there, you burning up. You can't take everything off.
Okay.
And then you get somewhere else, and now it's flooding in Colorado. What?
You could, but you get arrested.
Exactly. So right now, you better know how to swim real hard.
Right. It feels so bad for those people out there.
I know, and that's just a shock to me how that happened, because I have never heard of it flooding like that. And it looked like Katrina.
Right.
When you see everything flood, first thing I thought was like Hurricane Katrina and hit Colorado.
Right.
I mean, I wonder if this ever happened before like that, because I've never heard
No,
of it
actually,
flooding like that.
No, they're talking on the news that nothing on record like that. It was just unbelievable.
See, the world's coming to an end. Everybody better
Don't
repent.
be saying that until after the show.
The 14th. Everybody gets scared. Stay at America's best.
That's right.
That's funny.
That's great.
I want you guys to give us some information on how to contact you to get a booth or whatever. Any kind of information you want to give out, and John's going to post it, so just shout it out.
All right. Well, if they want information on the show, there's a couple of ways to get it. And number one is they can call 248-636-0965, or our Facebook page, which I have to look again here. And of course, www.facebook.com/vintage collectible, and collectible is spelled wrong. It's with an A instead of an I. So it's COLLECTABLE, appraisal fair. And that they'll be able to find, we post things almost every single day. The event calendar itself will be put on there this week, and obviously it'll be changing and adding additional names, but you'll be able to have a good feel for what's going on throughout the show. And every single day we're trying to add different people and different things so people know who's coming and that type of thing from this point on through the show. And Debbie, in the hotel?
Yeah. If you're coming from out of the area and you want a place to stay for the weekend, call America's Best Value Inns and Suites in Flint. The number is 810-233-9000, and ask for a room under the vintage appraisal fair.
So it's a package deal already set up?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's great.
Yep.
So I want to thank you guys for coming in
thank
and telling us all about this. And so I'll see y'all on the 14th.
You're bad. You're bad.
Oh, so thank you guys for coming in, and make sure John can get a business card or something so that he can put the stuff up on Facebook.
Here's a couple of tickets for you, too.
Oh, snap.
There
Look
you
at
go.
that, Johnny.
Perks to have your own show. See?
I know. There's some kind of benefit to this show. I have to drag my son with me so he might see something he like. He always want to buy stuff. Tell him he better dig in his back pocket. It's deeper than mine.
Wait a minute. It's like, isn't this a person coming from a woman who admits to having the 3 closets full of handbags?
I did not hear that. Nobody heard that. Who's the little man behind the window? So anyways, I want to thank Debbie Goodany from America's Best Western.
No.
George is going to kill me!
I see it. You're
Okay,
fired.
say it. I'm not even going to try it again.
America's Best Value Inns and Suites.
Oh my God, I can't believe I said that. And Mr. Brian Blaine from
Logical Solutions.
Logical Solutions for coming in today and talking about their event called What's This Worth? And Appraisal Fair. And it's going to be at Pirani Arena and Event Center October 12th and 13th. You don't have times on here.
It's 10 a.m. to 7 on Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 6.
Alrighty then. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in for Flaminpit Show Part 2. Saying that, we're out.